Well, graffiti is kind of a touchy subject here at Bobium because we do have artists who are spray paint artists. So to us, the utility project is more about stopping vandalism and teaching our youth artists and artists in the community that you can make artwork, you can use spray paint, but make sure that you're putting it in places that aren't considered vandalism, that it's a safe place to highlight your artwork.
For us, there's a fine line. You have art and you have graffiti, and the only difference is whether or not you had permission.
I think it kind of means a lot more. It's an art form. It can mean the way an aerosol mural is done, or even sort of some of the tagging that you see that I think can also be considered an art form when in comparison to a typography or something like that. So I think it has a much broader sense than what most people understand.
I think there's some really great examples of graffiti art that has the permission of the property owner, that's a collaborative effort that really is a way for the community to support the arts and have artistic expression.
It really reflects, I think, on how we value the cleanliness and the beauty of our neighborhood.
It's a fairly big problem. Every neighborhood has at least one incident reported every year. Most are reported monthly. We see month-end reports looking like in the wintertime, a few hundred cases up to over 1,000 in the summer.
The consequences for graffiti range in penalty all the way from a misdemeanor, which is below $1,000, to a felony, which is over $1,000. And to reach that felony level, it does not take much as far as damage to property with cleanup efforts. Depending on what's been damaged, that dollar amount can easily be reached. And once there's a felony on a youth's record, that usually follows them for the rest of their lives.
We're looking at just over $1 million worth of expenses for the enforcement and cleanup and follow-up for the program that we operate. That does include the micro grants, which we try to hand out to areas that are hardest hit.
This is a project that is sponsored by the Uptown Association, but actually in reality it is what we call a community-based project. In 2013, the Uptown Association was awarded a grant by Solid Waste and Recycling from the city of Minneapolis, where we did a variety of things to enhance the neighborhood as it relates to reducing graffiti and educating the community about graffiti abatement.
So the project involved going through the neighborhood and trying to locate which of the boxes seemed to be tagged more and where they were, and inventorying them and getting together with 12 other representatives from the neighborhood and kind of narrowing down where should we try these next boxes and how many would the city be willing to fund or help us fund.
R.T. Ryback, when he was mayor, was looking at the state of graffiti in Minneapolis and trying to come up with a unique way to prevent graffiti rather than to be reactive. So he had this idea of handing out city funds to help neighborhoods that were hard hit with graffiti. And we kind of took that idea and said, well, if we're going to do a program, we want you to do prevention, but we also want you to involve youth.
Selecting images made by youth, I think, is such an important part of honoring the positive things about public art and graffiti art. And so I think it was really important to make sure that all of our members of our community feel welcome and that the art is visible in the community. So I think it's a really great piece of the work is to have youth designed wrapping for the boxes.
Both of the youth artists that were selected, Shelby and Claire, are very active in the Bobium program, and that's one reason that we really pushed for them to get involved in this call for artwork. Shelby always stood out to me as a youth artist in the Bobium program. Immediately when I met her, I noticed the uniqueness that she had. One of those very unique things is that she's a self-taught artist. She doesn't go to a school that's focused on the arts. In fact, her school has very little arts programming. So much of the art that she creates is in her bedroom, in her garage.
I picked my two favorite pieces that I thought would be good for the area, and I submitted them, and they just happened to both be chosen.
The process was completely blind. No one knew who on the committee, no one knew the name of the artist, where they were from, what their age was, what their sex was, completely anonymous, very much like when we jury the art fair.
One of the pieces I chose to submit was Vivid, and I chose that one because it really means a lot to me because it's kind of what escalated my whole art career. It was really what inspired me to continue to paint because of the reaction I got out of people when they saw it. A lot of times artists from like a deep anger, a lot of artists really kind of go off of that, where I drove off of my happiness. My other piece is called Colorful Mind, and when I was actually doing that piece, I was listening to a lot of the local rap artists in this Minneapolis area and kind of just vibing to the beat of the music and kind of just getting new ideas through it. And I just had a bunch of, like there's a pizza slice in it, and I don't know why I put that other than I really like pizza. And I think it really is just a really good piece to have in this area because it's very modern, and at the same time it's kind of, you go back in time to the 70s era, and it's fun to look at because it's very colorful.
The piece of artwork that was selected from Claire was called Tangles, and it's a very colorful piece, and it is almost a pipeline or a tangled rope. And the fact that we are all pieced together, we're all joined together almost in this giant tangled rope. We're all connected and we're all one. And for her, I think that's very representative of the community, specifically the Minneapolis and Uptown community, represented in the colors that she used. The colorful, the vibrancy, the liveliness of the piece is, I think, what drew her to create this for the community.
Two main goals of the project are reducing graffiti and creating awareness. The awareness piece is probably a little bit more tricky, and we've done a couple of different things. Through our newsletter, we have graffiti tips. Through working with the 5th Precinct Police, always disseminating information, and there's a lot of information. Encouraging reporting, encouraging using 311, things that we do all the time, and that creates the awareness that you as a business person, you as an individual, you as a resident citizen need to be vigilant in the areas that you work and play. It is very commonly known that graffiti incidents across the United States is the #1 destruction of private property. There are, rapid cleanup is certainly a way to reduce it, and we encourage that. But the reality is, I think the awareness piece is on all of us, because everybody wants to live in a vibrant community, and we all have to play a part in order to make that happen.
I know that the community and the people around the area really do appreciate that we provide this service.
We're doing a variety of different things this year. One of them is a community-wide cleanup. It's called Adopt a Block. That is sponsored by the Uptown Association. And the purpose of this is to clean up the community and get everybody involved and aware of what a clean and safe neighborhood means, both to the business community and the residential community.
Adopt a Block enhances the community by keeping it clean in many different ways. I mean, they clean up graffiti, they clean up litter, they trim weeds. It just looks nice. Kind of like the broken window theory. If a place looks nice, you're hesitant to leave garbage on the ground or maybe leave a tag behind So that's where the Adopt a Block helps us with graffiti prevention and also falls under just general clean city.
Both programs, Adopt a Block and the utility box wrapping, are examples of a way that we're able to work together, the community, the business association, to be proactive about graffiti. And so the utility box wrapping is a really great example of ways that the community is supporting having art visible in the community.
They introduce art into the community, but they also prevent graffiti. They make maintenance on the boxes a lot easier. So there's more than one benefit of doing a wrap.
I think graffiti kind of can give off a really bad feeling, and I think when you have artwork in place of that, it hopefully makes you feel safe.
When something is nice and new and clean, people have more respect than if it's something that you're not taking care of. So with organizations like the Uptown Association, taking on projects like this, it just makes people aware that there's people out there that care, and hopefully it's a good deterrent to people who are into damaging or destroying the community.
It takes an eyesore and makes it look really pretty, and in this area it actually makes it look uptown. So it's a very very cool vibe that it places on the street corners. And I noticed it on the way in. I drive down Hennepin and I see all these boxes wrapped, and they all have a different flavor to it. So it's awesome.
It's a proactive way to work with businesses to support folks so that they're not constantly having to clean up graffiti, which is a pretty big investment. And so it's a way for us to really support our local business community and make sure that everyone feels safe, like we have an inviting community.
The utility box wrapping has been a wonderful addition to our area, our block itself. It's just been an extension of what we're hoping to do inside Calhoun Square, is just adding a little more art to the area.
It's a great way for us artists to get our work out there, along with to clean up the neighborhoods.
It helps the community become more colorful, become more full of life. It also affects our safety. It will stop the vandalism that's going on in the uptown neighborhoods, and it just gives everybody a little reminder that this is a community that is focused on creativity, on individuality, and uniqueness.